Welcome to Own the Potential podcast, where we explore the freedom and power of taking personal responsibility for our current state of affairs. By listening to those who've done it, we'll learn the practical steps of overcoming the odds. Quite simply, you are the creator of your life, not the reflection of your history. I'm your host, Michael Jasilowitz Jr., otherwise known as MJ. Let's see where this goes. We're back with part 2 with Josh OConnor. In part 1, we discussed a little bit about Josh's history and what got him to the point. And where we left off, we were talking about commitments. Let's pick it up where we left off with Josh.
Yeah.
And it starts with the commitment, though. Yeah, no, it's amazing that you found it early, and there's no accident why we're sitting here talking today, because these are the types of things that I love hearing from other people, and I want to share with others. Because when we talk about reaching our potential, it doesn't have to be just the one goal or that one buoy, like in Gattaca. It's a number of those things lined up against one another. In the short term, it might be that one goal, but it's all going to add up, right? Our life doesn't end today. At least we hope it doesn't. And, so when we're reaching those daily goals, it's going to build on top of one another to get something bigger. But I personally think it does start with a commitment. I mean, I've had a lot of different directions in my life, and I've done very similar to you, where music isn't my career, but I've always been in some type of leadership role, and I enjoy figuring out problems, solving problems, enjoy leading people so that they know that they matter and that they can do something great as a team. There was some people that influenced me greatly when I was younger. And so that's always been a part of what I did. But same as you, I've worked in a lot of different things. And there are times when I've had to do transitional jobs. That's right. I haven't been in the same thing all the time.
That's right.
Including what I'm doing now. This has been a journey that has been so fulfilling. And I hope to have, more financial freedom in the future. But but I'm happy right now. The ends are meeting. And I have freedom, and I get to be creative, and I get to be a human being, the human being that I want to be. So that's the potential. That when I think of potential, I think about that. Like, do you feel like you've reached your potential?
Not in the least.
Right.
Not in the least. So one thing that I always tell myself whenever I am confronted with like a very difficult task, or if I catch myself thinking that that's too much for me, I always tell myself, first of all, don't shortchange yourself. And
what do you mean shortchange? Like, don't give up early?
Don't give up early. And the spirit, the mind, whatever you want to call it, is so untapped. Like, perfect example. A couple years ago, I started becoming very interested in the stock market, and I started educating myself on how to trade stocks, and I started learning about options trading. Now, all my life, the finance world and just that stuff over there was very like adult and over there, I just really had no idea about it, and like we talk about,
it's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
If you don't understand.
Where do I start? This is new. But it was one of the things that was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to tackle. I wanted to know how I can handle my finances and make my money grow.
Of course.
Okay, so I started somewhere, and I caught myself along the way as I, started reading and researching more maybe complex strategies or terms, just catching myself saying, oh my gosh, like this is pretty difficult. And I consider myself a smart guy, and, and just catching myself going, right, but you don't know how much you can learn. You don't shortchange your mind. Just keep at it.
You thought that in your head, like the voice in your head say, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Just keep going. You have unlimited potential. So don't ever put a cap on it, and this goes back to why I think some people put themselves in boxes, because they put these barriers around themselves. Like, I am just this. And no, you're not. You can be anything and everything that you want to be. You just gotta, you gotta take the restraint off your mind. I am going to be a very successful investor because I am setting myself up to, when I get massively big checks, I'm going to want to know what to do with that and how to make that money grow. So I want to learn that too.
Yeah, get your money working for you.
Exactly. But just another avenue outside of maybe, okay, that has nothing to do with music. Well, so what?
So how did you get that type of, can you trace that back? I mean, was it your dad or somebody else that influenced you to think like that? Because so many times, like this is, here's the difference in different cultures in our country and around the world, right? We spend so much time in our country talking about the importance of money, and we kind of make money number one at times. And that's not really the goal, because there's a lot of wealthy people who don't, who respect it like you're talking about so that they can take advantage of it, but it's not their number one priority.
Yeah.
So who or what influenced you, or do you even know, to give you that type of mindset, that growth mindset, that to know that there's unlimited potential and that the self-talk is limiting?
Yeah, that definitely stems from my parents. My dad was very much I would come up to him, hey Dad, what's this word mean? And he would look at me and go look it up in the dictionary. And I would
dictionary. You couldn't just type it into Google.
That's right, exactly. And at the time, it would upset me, but I soon realized that that's where the self-starter, self-reliance started.
Yeah,
where
things like that.
It's little things like that, and then the unlimited mindset. It definitely from both my parents as well, but I would say, my mom hit a point in her life where she just kind of really started to question what this was all about. And
this meaning what? Life,
God, spirituality, however you want to call it. And so she really, really took a deep dive into all religions, all practices, and even till this day is constantly feeding me things she learns, videos seminars she's attended. And so, and I've had to really filter through all that stuff too. And so the unlimited mindset definitely was a gift that I was given from my parents as well.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and it's great. You need to have a partner in things like that, right? She something moved her so much that she shares it with her son.
Yeah,
that alone is a beautiful thing. But to be able to take it yourself and respect it for what it is and learn what you can from it, those are the things that when I really do believe when it comes to potential, you need those types of influences in your life. You need to believe that. And you need to have the mindset to even believe that it's possible.
Yes.
It's tough when you grow up around, what if you grow up around parents that aren't even there, right? And your influence is maybe your TV or just the neighborhood that you grew up in, or nobody, right? And nowadays, maybe it's just whatever you find on the internet.
It's all about the mindset. And maybe it was like the 7-minute mile, or I don't have. Is it? Yeah. So, like that record stood forever, and then somebody came along and broke it, and like the next year, 20 people broke it.
Yeah.
It's just about it's that mindset. That's really it.
Well, it really is. So the 4-minute mile, right? Doctors thought if you could run under the 4-minute mile, your heart would explode.
Sure.
Right. If you go back even further with trains, right? When steam trains first started, I want to say they went around 30, 35 miles an hour. Yep. And they actually thought that if you went faster than that, which I'm pretty sure a horse does, so I don't get why they thought this, but if you went faster than that your eyes could be like your corneas or your eyes could be smushed back into your skull. It was ridiculous types of thoughts like that. Now,
sure,
it seems ridiculous now because we didn't test it.
That's right.
One of the things recently, look at NBA basketball. and the Golden State Warriors. Back in the 80s, Larry Bird and Danny Ainge and others, they were the people who would throw up three-pointers, and their percentage was quite low, but it was higher than everyone else's, and they were just known for making them at the right time. You look at Golden State now, I think in the playoffs, or at least last night, they were shooting 50% of their free throws, and you got people like Curry who are just dropping them like that's their main shot.
Yep.
and it was, and everyone thought that the 3-point game was too difficult until people like this come along, and now everyone's trying to throw up the 3-pointers and these long balls to see if they can even get it. So you're right. You just a lot of times as human beings, seeing is believing. So you got to see it with your parents. They shared the information, but you got to see it too. Not everyone gets to see it. And that's what, that's the point of, again, doing this podcast. I want to get out to those people to share stories like yours, to let other people know that it doesn't have to just be your parents and your neighborhood and your community. It's whatever you want to find. And once you find something that inspires you to know that there is unlimited potential in whatever it is you want to do, then stay around it, be influenced by that and let it soak in, just like your parents did with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways I've taken from teaching.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest comment I've gotten from students, maybe like as the semester wraps up, time and time again, students, while they love learning the techniques, it's more about my personal life stories that I pass along to them to give them faith and hope.
Oh, yeah.
And motivation so they can go do that stuff. That stuff is more valuable. I mean, so
what's more valuable? Your personal stories?
Yeah, or so you doing this podcast and exposing people who maybe don't have that immediately in their, in their personal lives,
right.
Putting out content to where people can hear stories to give them hope and, give them that, positive drive that it's okay to think unlimited.
Yeah. It really is okay. Some people think that's narcissistic. It's like, well, if you're only caring about yourself and hurting others in the process, that's narcissism. But if there's nothing wrong, it's funny you bring that up. I had a lot of guilt for many years as I started learning and being introduced to those ideas that you shared earlier, like your mom was saying, was sharing with you, as I learned about other religions and Buddhism and meditation and just spirituality and law of attraction, right? All these different things, and it's all coming at me. And then it was like, well, I shouldn't want more than I need. I don't want to be selfish, and I don't want to be wasteful, and I don't want to use things that create trash. And after years of that being at the forefront of my mind, I was miserable.
Yep.
I was freaking miserable because it was like, well, what the hell can I do? Right. It's like, I can't drive a car because it uses gas and creates pollution. I'm thirsty, dying of thirst, and I'm around a store, but I can't buy a freaking bottle of anything because it comes in plastic. Right. It was like, I felt guilty about all this stuff until finally, I don't know who said it to me one day. They were like, it's okay. You're aware, and that's good. What are the other ways you can make an impact? But it doesn't mean you have to stop living and enjoying your life. And it definitely doesn't mean that you can't enjoy success.
If you shine, other people see you shining and they want to shine.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's a big thing. There's so many great influences out there. I mean, you mentioned Les Brown. As I started listening to speakers and stuff 10, 13 years ago, he was one that I was introduced to. Of course, Tony Robbins before that in the 90s. Huh. But, man, when Les Brown, first time I heard him, I was like, wow, this guy, the passion and his stories. And the one thing that just like it hit me, and I love studying human history, like anthropology, and I love looking at how civilizations started, what made them big, what made them successful. But I also think and you hear it a lot nowadays, But for me, at some point I realized it about 20 years ago, how important